to the Bike Shed podcast, where we talk about all things software engineering, which terminal I'm using today, and the new Getting Killed album by Geese. I'm your co host, user of Ghosty today, but WizTerm tomorrow, Scott K. And alongside with me are my co hosts. He wrote the blog post on building your application. Your code's current version bows down to his next one. He's deploying tomorrow's solutions today, Matt Hamlin. And my other co host, the Southern syntax scorcher, melting server side requests and blazing through performance, Dylan Spicy Take Curry. Fellas, I heard we got something different for the viewers today.
Yep, we sure do, Scott. We have no topic, but we have some things we want to talk about. So we're going to go through some of those. Matt, why don't you let us know some of the things you think we're going to talk about today, at least, and then we'll see where it takes us.
I've been thinking a little bit about coffee brewing. So that's something we can talk about. Cursor 2.0 dropped the other week, which is interesting. And I've been struggling with Claude Code. So those are the things that I'm interested in. And I think Next.js is like maybe something we should dig into. So maybe we'll cover that as well. So a variety bag of mixed treats. It's our Halloween episode. It's our trick or treat, right? You get a few different things.
I'm really excited to talk about how to use Claude Code successfully.
You know what I think's going to happen? We're just going to talk about coffee for the next hour.
I'd prefer to do that too.
I happen to be drinking like some of the worst coffee on the planet, at least in my opinion.
It's interesting. Like I feel like I agree. I'm not a fan of Dunkin' coffee.
They don't know what I'm holding up.
Yeah, for listeners, Dylan's drinking a what's the go-to order everyone orders? Like an iced medium or whatever?
This is just a Dunkin' latte regular.
Okay. Yeah. We took the train down to Stanford on Tuesday morning, and there's like a Dunkin' at the train track or the train station there. So we got some coffee there, and it's like all right, it's fine, but it's not excellent.
Yeah. I only drink it when like I'm too lazy to make coffee, which I have to be really lazy.
But it is interesting as like a non-Northeasterner. Like I feel like everyone here that's like from here like loves Dunkin', but then it's like I've tried it and it's just like it's just coffee. It's not.
Yeah, I ran into somebody at work yesterday who's from here, and they're like, "Dunkin's the greatest," and I'm like, "No, it's terrible." But I'm not from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an outlier on that too. Dunkin' is not good.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, have you had Dutch Bros, Matt? Have you ever had Dutch
No,
Bros?
I haven't.
They at least have those in California. So I feel like Dunkin' Donuts is more of like you're getting a dessert and not real coffee. Like that's the attraction to it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like about somebody who really likes to drink coffee. It's you want to get something that tastes good, which Starbucks kind of does a lot now. But Dutch Bros does that to the nines, and it's like awesome. But even their regular cold brew tastes good.
Have you guys seen those like TikTok YouTube shorts, whatever it is, Instagram reels of like people making insane Dunkin' orders where it's like I want like 15 scoops of sugar, and then they show like a large iced cup, and it's half of it is sugar, and then they like add in some like syrup on top of it, and it's like I feel like that's just the standard Dunkin' Donuts order. All right, the person that walks in Dunkin' Donuts, they order that thing, and it's like I feel like that's the only way that they can drink the coffee is if it has like 90% sugar in it.
They're not ordering the coffee. They're ordering the cream and sugar with a splash of coffee flavor. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel it is.
Which is interesting. I feel like Dunkin' has that reputation, whereas Starbucks maybe doesn't. But Starbucks is definitely the same thing. It's like you're ordering a sugar drink with coffee flavoring.
This all like makes me realize why I hate Dunkin' is because I don't put sugar in my coffee, even at a Dunkin' with a Dunkin' order. So I'm getting like the worst form of Dunkin'.
Yeah.
Like if I was ordering the dessert in a cup, then it would probably be okay. But I'm just like getting the worst version of it.
I made that mistake with my first time at Dunkin'. I went down to there was a Dunkin' in the mall at Wayfair, and I was in early, and I went down with Andrew, and like Andrew knew his order because he basically does Dunkin' every day. I'm pretty sure. And I this is the first time I've been to Dunkin', and I was like, oh, I'll just take like a cold brew. And that was like, or I don't even know if I ordered a cold brew. I think it was just iced coffee. I got like the largest size they have, just pure black iced coffee, and that was maybe the wrong decision. It was terrible.
We've talked about all the bad coffee. I mean, or Dunkin', sorry.
Yeah.
Matt, recently you mentioned that you were trying to make coffee at home and you had some issues.
Well, yeah, I guess to back up a little bit. So I've been so at home in Boston we have an espresso machine. Like I'm blanking on the name, but it's the same kind of a similar model that Scott recently got. And so we used to do espresso basically every morning. Um, but I've been switching up to using this like palm press thing. So I just like it's kind of like a pour over, kind of like a French press blend thing, like cross between the two, and that's been nice. But here at my in-laws, like we have like a Chemex, and so I've been trying to like it's kind of nice to like experiment or use the Chemex when I haven't really used it that often, and so like every time I come back and it's like a couple months or so between times that I'm here. So it's like I kind of like forget how I used it. So I used it yesterday morning, and it's like I just end up with a cup that's like kind of not really half full, but like there's a lot of like sediment at the bottom of the cup, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? Apparently, you need to use a paper filter along with the metal filter. That's something I just didn't think about.
No, that's understandable. Like we've always had like a pour over. I don't have the Chemex. Chemex is nice, but we just have like a pour over where like the paper filter wouldn't make it through, so we have to use both. So I just toss a paper filter inside, and it still gets a little bit of that stuff at the bottom of the batch. Um, I honestly just try to pour that out, but another thing you can do is you can try to refilter that part of the batch. So like before you pour that last cup, pour it through another filter, but you don't have to do that. Chemex filters are probably costly.
Well, you also do like Scott, correct me if I'm wrong. You're using your Chemex as like a cold brew maker versus just like a hot pour over setup.
No, I do a hot pour over now. I have a
Okay.
you said a palm press. I actually have like a plastic version of the same thing. It's like a French pressed where I might do that. But I actually that has a lot of grit in it too. So I'll actually pour that after through the paper in my regular pour over. I'll pour it through that again to try to like clean that out. You know, I wish the intro said something about coffee. It's like the first time it didn't.
Yeah, I'm just digging up the thing that I have as my like the thing I use basically daily is this like palm press. I don't know if it's that brand, but it looks the exact same thing. We'll share a link to it in the episode notes, the show notes.
I was trying to dig up this Medium post that I wrote, which sounds crazy because I
Oh,
never
yeah.
write blog posts. So I think it's like the last blog post I ever wrote was how to make like coffee and a Chemex for people in a hurry. Because I feel like at that time, every like Chemex video was like some barista spending 20 minutes teaching you how to do it. And I feel like it's just not that complicated. It's like the most basic way to make coffee, but it's simple, clean, and like easy. I feel, and it tastes the best, in my opinion.
This was one of the things that I feel like I was uh, late to catch on when we worked together at Wayfair was like the like brewing coffee in the office movement, which I feel like it came back kind of at the tail end of COVID before we started leaving. um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like for the most part, like getting coffee when at work was either going to one of the coffee machines, which is actually even worse than maybe Dunkin', but um, or going like walking on our sort of twice daily trip to the Starbucks in the mall.
Yeah, the making coffee in the office was just, we didn't want to spend the money to go to Starbucks every day, but it was also, it's just another form of the water cooler chat. So we'd go like hang out, get a break
Yeah.
from work. And maybe there was a recent layoff, so we just wanted to hide from our desks.
Yeah, and then the Starbucks coffee walk eventually evolved into a blank street coffee walk, which eventually became nothing because we were spending too much money on coffee.
All right, have we coffee'd out or
Yeah, I
finished?
think we've.
Nope.
We talked
Nope. I got more to talk about. We didn't talk
All
about
right.
my Breville yet.
Yeah, Scott, give us a review of the Breville because you haven't used the Breville before, right?
I never used a Breville or espresso machine ever. I mean, I made coffee with like Keurigs and stuff. All right, it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's not too hard to do. I guess like everyone who has this or has an espresso machine is just gonna know. I don't know if either
Yeah.
of you have or had, but like the hardest part is probably when you get fresh coffee, understanding how much to grind it at. So there are grind levels. It has its own grinder, and you don't want it to be too fine or too coarse. If I remember, you want um, you want like a pretty fine grind, but if it's fresher, you want it to be slightly coarser. You don't want it to be too fine. And then if it's not fresh coffee, you often have to use more of it to get a good pour versus when it's fresher, you have to have less in the level. So I've tried to weigh it, but it's tough. So basically the first one you do is like an experiment. Do I need a little more coffee? Do I need a little less to try to get that perfect espresso? I have not used any of like the tools with the Breville, the frother or any of that stuff. I've only used. I already have a frother, so we've made cold drinks. Just haven't made any warm drinks. I've had in that one espresso shot, but I usually just make an americano, add water, or I'll make it into a latte, but like an iced latte, not a warm drink yet. So TBD when it gets really cold out, if I start having some warmer bevs. But the thing's great. It's been really nice. And for the first month of having it, I made one every single morning. And I make one for me and Brittany because I can just do a double shot. And we have shot glasses because I don't really drink, but I use these really nice shot glasses. Our friends David and Jen got us, and I put one in the fridge for her, and she just makes a drink with it. So that was great. I haven't done that for like the last week, and every weekend that's what we drink. But I honestly haven't gotten Starbucks since. It's just like I don't think Starbucks is like amazing or anything. I kind of use it now because like for a long time it had tons of deals. I'm ranting. I'm going on a full on rant. It used to have tons of deals, like when we used to go on our trips at work, and you'd get a free drink pretty often, or you get something for free pretty often. I'd get a free bag of coffee or something. Now, like I rarely get them, but I'm starting to see them again since I think I haven't been a customer as much. But yeah, I just Starbucks coffee is just okay. It's over
It's over.
roasted, and you can tell it's like burnt. Yeah, it's burnt. It's like burnt beans.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's good. It's fine in a pinch. It's better than um, Dunkin's for sure. But like
Yeah.
I have no reason to. Now I'm just like, what beans do I get? And recently I had gotten some atomic beans, the same that I had gotten you, Matt. I don't know if we've discussed that on here. We didn't, but we're both drinking atomic. Maybe you've already went through it.
Oh, I already
And
burned through it.
also, I was at Atomic 2 days ago with Eric Hermanson. Shout out to Eric. I went to pick up a bag while we were there. They only had the smaller bags, and then I forgot to grab one. Usually I get like a 2 pounder, but yeah. Okay, that's enough about coffee, right?
One thing or a couple things that came to mind as you were talking is like one, we're probably going to alienate 90% of our audience because that we're like sort of really shitting on Duncan, and I feel like some of them are going to be like, I enjoy Duncan or something like that.
Whoa, 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 whoa! I mean, it's not top tier coffee, but we all drink it. Dylan's drinking one right now. I'll recommend the cold brew. The cold brew is better than the regular iced. Has a less tangy taste to it or bitter taste to it, but um, it's just not.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you're like a coffee connoisseur, it's like not the best
It's never
beans.
first choice. It's last choice.
Have you guys watched the more recent seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm? Okay, Larry. All right, spoilers. But Larry starts a coffee shop, and they just talk about it's all about the beans, and they make these jokes. Oh, he's got the beans. Duncan doesn't got the beans as much as a smaller place.
Nice.
All right, maybe we talk a little bit about Cursor 2. So Scott has no idea what we're talking about when we talk about Cursor 2 because he uses something called chat, which maybe we're like leaking some internal secrets from Airbnb, but it's basically Claude Code. I use Claude Code at work
We
also.
were gonna just say
Just
Claude
bleep
Code.
it, man. Just bleep
Yeah,
it.
he uses something called Bleep Chat.
I'm gonna have to learn how to bleep.
But for those that are software engineers, probably know, like within the past 2 weeks, I think Cursor dropped their so for Cursor, for those that don't know, Cursor is like a code editor. It's a fork of VS Code and has like a lot of AI features built in. They dropped their 2.0 release, which basically flipped the model. So before it was basically a nice code editor like VS Code with a lot of AI features built in. Now it's like an AI editor with, or like an AI experience with a code editor built in. And they also released a new model that they trained themselves that they said is really good. I've like only used it a little bit, so I can't really speak too much about the model, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm like looking at these UI changes and it just feels like the chat has been flipped to the left side of the screen. And then
Yeah.
maybe there's a couple other like drop downs or something.
Yeah, it also defaults you to the chat first experience, I think.
Okay.
So you, like previously, you would come into something that looks like VS Code, where for most people it's like the file system, file tree on the left, and then your editor pane in the middle, and then you have like a right sidebar that had your chat experience. Now it's like a chat experience. The left sidebar becomes a history of chats, and then on the right side you can sometimes open up an editor window to see the diff of like what the code it's generating. It's interesting. I'm only realizing this now, but like kind of have like nice like blend here of like experience here, because like Dylan, I feel like you use primarily Cursor, or at work, I guess.
Yeah, basically have like unlimited cursor
Yeah.
tokens at work.
And you guys don't use Claude Code. It's only Cursor, as I understand it.
No, I've dabbled with the cursor CLI, which is similar to Claude Code, only because I've had issues with installing MCP servers into Cursor, but for whatever reason they work with Cursor CLI.
Yeah, Scott's kind of on the opposite end, where you guys don't use Cursor at Airbnb, but you use a chat experience in the terminal. bleep chat.
We actually piloted Cursor and it got bad feedback at the company. Just to reiterate for the millionth time, I use Vim. The rest of the front end engineering org at work uses VS Code. So that's a thing. However, I guess I want to ask. So I am familiar with Cursor. I have used it. Like if it was real game changing, I would probably use it. Vim has plugins that basically do the same thing. I have a plugin called Avante at work that uses open AI models that literally emulates, I guess, Cursor v1. So what's the difference here? Is it just? It sounds like it's a UI change where it's more of like let's do AI coding first. But also, is there like any difference with like MCP? Are there new features that actually make this better, or is it just we're approaching Cursor as an AI first product and less of a VS Code clone that has an extension to do the
Yeah,
chat?
that's my like sort of baked in read of it. The that it's like and I guess we should be fair. Like Cursor was like a lot better than VS Code in terms of like its AI features, whereas like VS Code, I haven't used it like vanilla VS Code for a while, but like I guess like they've been baking a lot of in like GitHub Copilot into it. But Cursor was like sort of even better in the sense that it had a like really deeply integrated AI experience. And now it's like basically an AI editor plus also some features for like manually looking at and editing code on the side.
Can I just say, I like looking at I watched a video of it quickly with the sound off. It just looks like Vercel built a coding app with V0. I mean, I don't know. It just looks like Shad CN V0. Yeah, it just looks that way.
And they had support. You brought up MCP also. They had support for MCP before as well. And so I don't think that necessarily changes with this. It's just they just sort of like reskinned the editor experience. So you're just using a GUI to.
It's just a UI update. Like they didn't add new MCP changes, but it's like a major change because it's UI. So like, can you change? I guess this doesn't matter too much, but can you make coding your default, or does it like force you into a AI first approach?
I think it defaults you to the agent experience, which is the AI first experience, but you can, I think, flip it to be an editor experience where you kind of go back to the standard VS Code like layout of like a file tree and a file view.
Yeah. I think the editor view is like when you're using the chat, it's single model back and forth chat. But when you opt into the agent view, it's like it gives you these additional tools to say like, we haven't really talked about this. You can run one prompt against as many models as you want at the same time. Or you can say like,
That's cool.
run it 5 times for the same model and see the different responses. And then you can also do a feature that some people have been doing, which is called using Git work trees to like run multiple agents on different copies of the same code, but it has like built-in support for that now, where you can like opt into work trees and then start running multiple agents at the same time. I haven't tried this. I can barely multitask at all, so sounds insane to try to like solve multiple problems on the same code base at the same time. But
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious about your guys' experience with work trees. Have you guys been using work trees at all with AI yet?
not me.
Wow, this is interesting. I actually started using work trees because for this very reason. However, I realized I was experimenting because I wanted to see if our dev VM supported like multiple instances of those work trees, and it doesn't. But I did start doing it so I could like solve multiple problems at once. And I was actually talking to other friend of the show, Joe Boyle, about using work trees. And it was very interesting because I was like, oh, this is really easy to do. Like, I don't see why you wouldn't do this. I think the only caveat to using work tree was like you can't be on the same branch on multiple work trees. So like if you are on main or master for one of your branches, like if you try to switch on another branch, you can't. So that is like a caveat. But Joe had mentioned he's like, yeah, people I've talked to that do this just clone the repo in multiple places. Like, what's the difference? And he said, sell me on work trees. I said, I don't know. I'm just learning work trees. It seems like I guess my only sale here would be like if you have a mono repo or a repo that's so big, like one of our repos, cloning a work tree could take a long time, even if you're like doing a depth one flag on that clone. So like, yeah, work tree might make sense, but I mean, I'm not gonna honestly advocate too hardly for that anymore. Like, Git built a feature that's like inception of itself if you can just clone the same thing multiple times. But I mean, I don't know. It's to each his own, whatever path works for the
Yeah.
user. But I do think it's a really cool workflow. I did watch a Primogen video about how he was like, you should be using this. This is the best thing ever. But it's a couple years old. I thought it was neat and I wanted to learn it. But if I can't actually have like a version of the application running in multiple places, it's a little bit of a moot point, kind of defeats the purpose. But if you're doing like a quick fix or something, or adding a test, or fixing um, pipelines, TI stuff that you don't really need to look at the moment, I guess you could multitask.
Yeah, I haven't gone down the work tree support. I've just gone down like I'm just going to clone the repo into, we have a repo called Bend HubSpot, and now I just have a clone called Bend HubSpot -2. And then maybe if I need a third one, I can do Bend HubSpot -3, etc. And then it's just like, it's just easier for me to manage that versus work trees because I never really invested the time to actually understand it.
Yeah, since this feature came out yesterday, that's probably the primary reason I haven't used it yet. But I just thought while Scott was talking that my like ideal use case for work trees or multiple clones is I'm working on a feature and then something breaks out, like an incident happens, for instance, and now I need to make a hotfix. I'm like halfway through this feature. I just like literally add all my stage changes and just commit them and just say work in progress, which is like a really weird way to leave off. But with work trees, I'm seeing that like I don't have to do that. I can just go like make my hotfix separately, commit that, and then when I'm done, I can come back and like continue where I left off. And I'm like I got to do this.
Yeah, I feel like that's the old head approach of Git, where it's like, yeah, just create a commit or stash it. I think Scott is a big stash fan. Yeah, just stash your changes, check out the new branch, apply the change or whatever, and then jump back and then they pop your stash.
Yes. So what Dylan's saying, that is like the selling point for it. Every video I watched, like it's actually a pretty simple API. There's probably more to it. There's definitely more to it. It's like, but all I know is like get worktree add, get worktree delete, and then like I get check out different branches on different streams. And basically, just to explain what it does, I probably should have done this earlier, but all it does is when you create a new work tree inside of the repo, it creates a new folder that's like a mimic of that repo. So if I do like get work tree secondary, which is what I do for some reason, then inside my repo there's a secondary folder, and that's basically all it does. It's like a nested version of the same thing. So it's not crazy, but you're Dylan. Yes, your explanation of it is like exactly the use case for it. But also, yeah, Matt, I am a huge fan of stashing. Like actually, funny, I become even bigger of a fan of stashing. But now like I learned how to like stash and then stash a couple of files. And now I name all my stashes so that they actually have relevance. And I've been like crazy about it because I had been going back and forth here because I can only see like one thing, but I'm constantly kind of pulled between two things, and development is a little slower at the size of the company. So like when someone pulls me off on something, I'm stashing and naming at this point, and I honestly I'm just fine with that.
Feel like at that point, like why not just commit? And like that way you basically have like I feel like stashing and committing are at that point are basically the same thing. So like I've been doing work in progress commit. So I'll just like commit with like a message of like work in progress and then with some context. And then I'll jump over to the other branch and then do the changes. And I jump back and I just like soft reset. So I get the changes back without so they're staged and whatnot, and then I can edit it, or I create more changes and I just amend my commit when I'm like ready for like rephrasing it.
I'll do that too, actually. Like I guess like it depends on the choice for me depends on like how rough are the changes I'm making. Like if I like often I'll build some stuff. We don't have sometimes clear constraints, and I might do something and it passes all the tests and I think it's right, and then I realize that there's X other problem or whatever, and I'm starting to like rummage my way through it. If I don't feel like it's like in a great spot, like I'd rather stash those changes and then think about like, okay, like could I push this one out and like make these as like a follow-up commit, or like think about it. It's like basically if I'm in a really rough state with what I'm doing, I'll stash that. I don't really want to like taint something that's in a better place. So I guess that's how I view it. But I do the same thing. I don't even write work in progress. I just say like updates. I literally have like a one-liner that just says git commit updates.
Yeah, so I guess one of the things that jumping a little bit back to the cursor to stuff, it's one of the things that sounds exciting is that it sounds like it abstracts away the work tree complexity from you potentially, which I think will be nice because yeah, it's not, maybe it's not that complex, but I feel like it's like a I don't know, at this point I feel like I'm a kind of like an old dog with Git where it's like you can't learn new tricks, and so hopefully cursor is like just does that for me and I don't have to worry about it. It's like a black box. It's just like it'll do that.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is for me. It's like I've never used work trees, and then it's like, oh, it has work trees, and it's like, oh, I've heard of those. I've never like put in the time to learn how to use them. But maybe this will make it easier for me to like test it out. And then like sort of going back to 2.0, another feature is you kind of touched on is there's this new composer model that they're shipping with it, which only had maybe an hour of testing with it, but they basically say that it has some like instructions to inform it more about all the different editor tools that are like available to the agent. So it should be like plugging into that like into the cursor workflow better. So I'm interested to see like does that actually net like have a net positive to your development, but we'll see.
Yeah, I've been on the side, and this maybe transitions us to another topic also, but on the side, I've been sort of vibe coding a like deploy it yourself CMS package, um, which is interesting in the sense of like you like it'll ship with adapters that you basically run in like if you're running it on Node on some like on a VPS or something, then you just use a Node adapter and you hook it up to like Postgres and stuff like that, and it just manages it for you. Um, but the default path I'm like sort of optimizing for is like hosting on Cloudflare workers, so I can just like deploy it to Cloudflare and like and like hook it up to KV and SQLite database and stuff like that, and it just works. But so like last night, for the most part, I've been using Claude Code for a lot of that development, just because I find Claude like pretty good as a tool. I've tried using ChatGPT's like Codex CLI, but it's a little clunky. I feel like it's not as good. And so last night, I was like, all right, I hit my, this is maybe another topic, but I hit my limit on Claude Code. So I was like, all right, I basically need to stop for the night and then return to it tomorrow.
I can't work anymore. The AI can't help.
Exactly. But then I realized, like, I was like, oh, Cursor 2 is out. Maybe I'll just give it a little try. And so I jumped into it with Cursor 2 and like, had it start working on some stuff, and it built out, I think. And so that's another interesting thing is like, I need to go back and validate all this code. I haven't actually read all the stuff it's generated so far. But it built out like a GraphQL support for the CMS. And it seemed fine. Like it got the same, like it seemed like it got work done. It's been writing tests and the tests are passing, which is good. But I feel like it's certain places in the model where, and this is using the new composer model, certain places where it's just like, oh, like there's some TypeScript errors, but that's not related to my changes, so I'm not going to worry about those. Or, oh, there's some tests failing, but that's not related to my changes, I'm not going to worry about those. Whereas Claude, I feel like either through my training, through my Claude MD file, like I've gotten it to care about those and actually like fix those. I feel like it's the classic example of like sort of lazy engineers of like, oh, that's failing on main, and so I don't care about fixing it locally on my branch or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I've been going on and off about this, but I don't know if that's been your guys' experience with using AI also, of like, is it kind of lazy in the sense of like if something is failing, but it itself is like, oh, I don't need to fix that because it's not related to what I'm working on? Or have you guys found that that's not the case locally?
Give me an example. Maybe you just did.
I mean,
give it again.
I mean, one example is like, oh, like tests are failing, or like Claude will be like, okay, I've implemented your change, or Cursor, whatever it is. Like your agent will be like, I've implemented your change, and the tests that we've added or the tests that relate to the logic that we've touched are passing, but there might be other tests failing. And it's just like, nah, those are fine. Those are unrelated. So I'll just like only worry about the things I've touched.
I feel like when I've been using it recently, like it'll make all the changes I want, and then it'll just start detecting all these issues. And I'm like, dude, just wait a second. Like, let me like test this first. It'll just start fixing all kinds of random stuff that's not even related. So I'm having the other problem.
Yeah.
The opposite.
One of it's that's interesting. Do you guys have like Claude MD files?
Yeah.
Or like
Are they
rules.
like,
You
do
probably
have
have a
Claude write your Claude MD file?
I've had it. So this is another interesting sort of tangent. Like I've like a PR that's been sitting for a while at work of like I've had it try to like initialize its own Claude MD file, and we're getting like a lot of sort of iterative feedback on that PR. But it's
No.
no.
It's supposed to write its own instructions, and you're supposed to tell it to update the instructions. You're not supposed to manually edit it.
Well, you can't. Like it. Yes, the default path isn't that you need to manually edit it, but
sure,
you can.
Sure, it can make. I had to read a couple of articles about this. Maybe I can find them. But like you can make manual updates, sure, but in reality, you're supposed to, or it's recommended by Anthropic that you let it write them, and then tell it to update them, and then constantly over time tell it to refine.
I think yes, but at least in my experience on this, the PR at work that I'm working on, it's like it hallucinated a ton of stuff. It like found, so we have it's not like super complex, but we have like a relatively decent sized monorepo for managing this internal tool. And it just like finds a folder called like, I don't know, something visualization. And it's like, oh, this must be an internal UI to visualize the internal state of this CLI. And it's like, no, that's actually not at all what it does. It's like, okay, maybe we poorly named that package, and or the package also didn't have a README, so it didn't like, couldn't infer from that. And so it just like tries to like make up something in the Claude MD file. So that's why we've had to like go back and forth and like iterate and like try to figure out the right thing. And also like it pulls some commands to run, for example, for like internal development on the project, but then it's like pulling ones, it's like obviously it's pulling ones that exist in our package JSON, but like some of them, it's like that's not exactly what it does, or not exactly how it's intended to be used, and so we need to like go in and tweak it to be more accurate.
All right. I have more questions. So do you only have, is this the only Claude MD file this has?
Yes.
Okay, so then you should just yeet the Claude MD file and update it over time. I think trying to perfect the perfect Claude file is not going to solve the problem. And it's hurting now more than it's helping. So that's my first take on this is like, yeah, sure, it might be missing stuff, but let's get it out there. We have nothing out there. And it's hurting more now. So there's that. But I guess I asked this question because that's probably why you're seeing it do a lot of things that you didn't ask it to do. It has no instruction. Or in that example, because I'm actually experiencing like the opposite problem where we have so many Claude MD files that like it just is just any TypeScript all the time, even though it's supposed to be like a TypeScript wizard. That's like one example. So I'm like always fixing types with it. I think it's actually improving with upgrades, to be honest. But like I see like different issues, or like still sometimes it over engineers, and I have to be like, okay, we don't need to do that. Like we
Yeah.
can take the temperature down a little bit. Let's think about the rules of React and how we can like simplify this. But no, I would just like I would push for more iterative approach on that. Like, yeah, it might be missing stuff, but like it's completely missing. So let's add the missing things as we go. This is code. This is iterative.
Yeah, I think like maybe getting a little bit back to like what I was talking about as well, but I don't know, Dylan, if you had like something on that point.
Just gonna say, Matt's just holding AI wrong.
Yeah,
This is
that's true.
No, Matt's not doing
I'm
anything
joking.
wrong. Matt's not doing anything
I'm
wrong. It sounds like this is like an at work thing where everyone wants an opinion on what's in the Claude MD file.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the other thing I've noticed with and this is like going all the way back to our cursor, like cursor and composer usage is like last night. Claude, I feel like does pretty well of like handling TypeScript in my experience on this side project at least. Whereas cursor was just doing a ton of like, it's like, oh, there's a type error, so I'm just going to do like foo equals bar as any, and then like call it fixed, and it's like that's not fixed. And so I had to like, it took me a bit of hand holding with composer to like go through and like actually remove as any's if possible. And it's like use better typecasting, use actual types, or like figure out why the types are wrong and things like that.
Am I allowed to continue talking about Claude a little bit?
Yeah.
Or
no.
like because we're going a little back and forth.
No,
I just
no more
wanted
Claude.
so do you guys use yeah, okay, Dylan is kind of bringing it up here, but do you guys use, when you use Claude, Matt, do you use like planning mode, and do you use like the think modes, like think harder and
Ultrathink.
Have you used any of that? I ultrathink every command.
Yeah, I reach for Ultrathink a lot. I don't necessarily opt into the plan mode or not all that often. I think I'm always just in the Sonnet 4.5 model. Oh yeah, Dylan, this might not be a thing that you realize, but there's these keywords that Claude hooks into. I don't know if it's Claude or if it's like the underlying model that it hooks into to like opt into more thinking tokens.
I told Luke Reich, another name drop, about this, and he was like, Ultrathink, what the or LOL or something. But yeah, there's multiple modes that it picks up on these keywords, and it will take more time to reason.
I feel like these tools are just like building in all these extra little add-ons, because every time you use one of these, it's like I'm opting into spending just a little bit more money, and maybe I'm just looking at some of the negative things that I missed.
Something cool they do now is like I'll ask it a prompt, and if it doesn't have enough context, it'll give me a series of questions about the prompt, and I'm like, wow, this like CLI is getting more robust.
I think that's planning mode in action.
No, it's not always planning mode. Like, yes, I do planning mode, but it's like planning mode used to just be a conversation, but now it does that. But also, like, I would actually recommend you almost do everything in planning mode first. You will get a better, like, this is the workflow I've gone through. You get better results. And like, I literally have a conversation. So this is something I wanted to get into, and I'll be quick about it. But basically, I try to unbiasedly tell plan mode, like, hey, like, I want to do this thing. Like, what do you think? I have my plan, and then once it gives me its plan, I start having conversations about those two plans. Because if you give it any slight inclination that you like want to do your plan, it'll just like run with it, be like, yeah, let's do this. So like try to use, like try to be dumb with it first, get some plan, look at the pros and cons of yours, and then have a conversation about it, and then tell it to execute. You will always end up with something better. And I think that's why I like Claude Code so much.
Yeah, I think I haven't really been using the planning mode that much. But there are some times where it's like, or I think I just generally sort of put this in my prompts of like, think about it first and then come back, like ask me like an opinion on approaches. So it's like, I have this feature I want to implement, think about a few different ways to approach it and ask me like or present those options to me. And then I'll basically tell it which of the options go down. But yeah, for Dylan, because you didn't realize or maybe haven't experienced Ultrathink, it's pretty cool now that the cloud will like highlight it or like give it this rainbow. I shared a screenshot in our chat, but maybe we'll put it in the show notes
I'm
also.
just like, my take on some of this stuff is just giving engineers easy ways to waste money. But that's kind of my take on Cursor 2.0 actually, and I never really touched on that earlier. Because there's all these ways to just like run more and more prompts all at once, and it's just, do you really need to run it 17 times to figure out how to make a button like appear on the screen in a good way?
Well, honestly, with the plan mode on Claude Code, like I never have to tell it to do the same thing over again because like it makes it clear what it's going to do ahead of time, doesn't do it, and then if I can
Yeah.
read it over, review it, and be like, oh, we need
Yeah,
this
yeah.
and that. It's honestly, I think the best feature like that in Ultrathink. Like I know it's costing somebody a lot of money, but it works.
Well, so like on the cost side, it's like, I think I was saying this earlier also, but like I've been hitting my limits on Claude Code more frequently as I've been using it. And then this is also, we were talking about this a little bit before recording of like maybe I actually am using AI incorrectly. Like I think I'm using it a lot where sometimes it's like very menial tasks and it's just like easier to prompt it to do something than it is for me to sit down and write a script for it, or like to do the meta prompt of like write a script for this to make this change. So like one example actually from last night is like it's been churning along on this side project code base for a bit, and it's been using const everywhere, and I kind of hate const. I have this like hot take that const is like not worth using. I always prefer let, which is, I don't know, maybe we get into that, but and so I just basically said like, okay, go in and replace all instances of const with let. And it like does this like, find and replace and stuff like that, but it burns through all the tokens that I have. And so it's like, this isn't even running chats in parallel. This is just like a single chat doing that. It's like, I probably should have just had it write a script to do that, find and replace for me.
I guess it's more because you're on a budget here.
Yes.
Like I have the luxury of just like telling it to do everything. Although like I get into this mode where it's like I don't want it to do everything. I want to do some things here, not just fix the types.
So, and I think probably our first episode, I think we talked about AI, and we talked about how we were gonna stop using it for a week, and then we would report back. It's been like over a year, and I think we all failed that challenge.
I mean,
Okay, so are we
Yeah.
doing a new challenge here? We're gonna try to do that for once. I'm gonna get laid off if I do that. I won't make it.
outside of work, I definitely went through this period, maybe within the past couple months, of like where I just like wasn't working on side projects at all. So that was kind of like not using AI in a sense. But obviously in work, I was using AI.
Oh man, have you been doing interviews lately at work?
I've shadowed a few, but haven't done too
That's
many.
like its own episode, but do you guys allow them to use like AI tools in the interview?
We don't currently, which is really interesting because we pride ourselves on being AI fluent. Like literally one of our criteria in our interviews is, and it's not necessarily during the coding sessions, but it's like a behavioral question we ask of like how AI fluent is the candidate, like what AI tools are they using, what's their experience with it. And so like if you don't use AI and you come in and do an interview and it's like, and then you like answer that kind of poorly, that maybe serves as like a yellow flag of sorts. And so and yet our coding sessions don't use AI, or we're not allowed. Candidates aren't allowed to use AI, which is kind of oddly weird. But
We basically start the interview with like, hey, you're allowed to use these tools, but you can't just like dump the question into it and
the problem,
get the answer and paste it. Like that's not an option.
you're just reach for Ultrathink in your interview.
I've heard that companies are now giving interviews where they're making people use AI and then trying to get them to explain, like, not just put the exact answer in, but like, how could this actually be better? Which makes a lot of sense to me. That's starting to become a thing.
I haven't also experienced the case where it's like very clearly the candidate is like cheating and like using AI. Like the Cluely is like the popular example of this, where it's like a piece of software that people can use to like basically like answer interview questions for them while being trying to like almost invisible to the person interviewing them.
I've been so skeptical on some of my recent interviews where like they don't use AI, but I'm like, why are they coding top to bottom? Nobody thinks like that. Like they'll just like input the solution, and I'm just like, what?
Line by line instead of like sort of like
the
building it
instruction.
out.
There's like 3 separate instructions, and then they're like solving for all 3 at once, and I'm like, dude, are you paying attention? Like, slow down. Sorry. We could do a whole interviews episode.
Yeah, I think it's been a long lasting topic idea for us to get back to, is like AI in interviews, or maybe just interviews in general, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I've seen it like I'll prompt candidates that they can use AI if they want, and I think some of them feel like if they use it, they're gonna get docked for like using it, which is not. Maybe I'm not like telling them or like giving them a good enough explanation for why they can use it and explain that they're not going to get docked. But I feel like most of them sort of steer away from it. But then they end up using Google, which is AI. So it's pretty funny.
All right. Do we have any further topics, or do we want to wrap it up there? We didn't really do a stand-up update today. Maybe we do a quick little end stand-up. Scott, what's up with you?
Didn't have enough time to prepare. I mean, tomorrow's Halloween, so now I've dated this podcast. Excited about that. I get the trick-or-treaters. This will be 3rd year of that. We usually don't get too many, so I get all the leftover candy. Excited about that. Had a flat tire.
Are you a wait on the Halloween thing? Are you a big candy person, like a full-size candy bar person, or are you a tiny candy bar person?
In today's economy, to use a map for it.
Yeah, really. Have you?
I mean, I would love to be.
Have you tasted the candy that's like packed with 7 other candies? It tastes terrible.
Yes. I noticed this yesterday. Yes, that's 100% true.
What candy are you guys talking about?
Specifically cases, like, or at least in my case, it was like chocolate candy that's in a bag of like non-chocolate candy.
It just like all the candy,
and it's just like everything's
weird.
Like
absorb into the other candies, and then when you eat it, it just tastes like the soda that you get if you mix like every soda together.
The graveyard soda or whatever it was.
You guys called it.
We just got some like assorted like Sour Patch Kids kind of thing, so maybe that'll go over all right. Yeah, I got a flat tire yesterday. Not exciting. Repaired it yesterday. It's all better. So that really derailed my work day. So like right now I'm under the gun, and chatting with you guys isn't making it any better.
Of flat tires, I bought this like wireless, like battery operated air pump for my car.
Compressor.
Yeah, it's sick. It has like a light.
I got one of those.
Nice. You just tell it.
It's not wireless, but
you tell it what pressure you want it to go to, and you just hit a button, and then it just like fills up and stops. It's awesome.
Oh, that's better than mine. Mine's old
Nice.
school.
But it's been good. Like, I'll just like check my tires every once in a while and then fill them back up. It's great. That's my stand-up update as well.
I don't know if I was done, but I guess I am now.
Well, yeah. Any other closing thoughts there, Scott, on your stand-up update? We save it for parking lot. That's probably
Oh
what we should
yeah,
have done
we have a
for, for 200 injections.
No, that's enough. I mean, we talked about coffee, so we're good.
Dylan, what's your stand-up update?
I don't know. I'm taking 2 days off of work. Everyone's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, not much, nothing.
Arc Raiders.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to play this Arc Raiders game. In my head, I'm gonna play it for like 6 hours. But what's actually gonna happen is I'm gonna play it for like 45 minutes, get mad, and go like do something else.
I feel like also for those who don't know, Arc Raiders is like a infill extraction shooter. So like you lose like if you lose. Well, actually I don't know how it exactly works, but for other games in a similar genre, like if you lose all your backed up stuff, like saved guns and loot and whatnot, then it's like you kind of run out of reasons to play. Maybe like I feel like you slowly get tired of like going in empty and like trying to extract the stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll be curious if you feel the same as well.
Yeah, I think there's this fear which makes it more interesting. And if you do lose everything, there's opportunities in the game to like start with
Mm.
like barely anything and sort of slowly work your way back up for no value.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like an interesting type of game. So I've tried to play games in this type, like Escape from Tarkov, but it's just that game is insane and impossible to get into.
Yeah, we at least Scott and I have played DMZ in the past, like the Call of Duty version of it, and it was pretty good. And it still has like a pretty vibrant community, even though they've like basically shut it down. But and then recently I played the Delta Force version of the extraction shooter, which is like kind of interesting. But I feel like that audience, like there was a group of people that moved over to that from DMZ and like played it pretty frequently. Like it's not as tough as Escape from Tarkov or the other ones, but um, I feel like it's slowly burnt out also. Or a lot of people are probably shifting from that to Arc Raiders. Anyway, we're not a gaming podcast.
Yeah, we are.
Now we are. We're
Excited
rebranding.
about the game is the sound design is amazing. The visuals are really, really good. And then it's not made by like a massive AAA studio either. It's the company that made the finals,
Yeah.
which is actually a pretty good game.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I didn't know that.
yeah, and it doesn't cost $70. It's only $40, which is kind of crazy. So I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other cool things going for it.
Cool. So your whole stand-up update is just Arc Raiders.
Pretty much. I mean, I can go to the last episode. I'm still staying consistent with that workout that I said I was doing.
Nice.
The month
Nice.
on the third week in a row with no skips.
That's great. I was trying to get back into my daily walk routine. I feel like sometimes it's like, well, as of late, one, it's dark in the morning, so it's like really hard to convince myself to go outside and go for my walk in the morning. But two, it's also getting a lot colder, so it's like now I'm wearing a sweater and pants, and it's just like not the vibe to go for a walk. But I need to get back into back into the
What's your
flow.
update, Matt?
Let's see. Yeah, so I was in Connecticut this week for a few days. We were doing like kind of like a walkthrough of our location for our wedding. It was pretty neat. I don't know what else. I'm burning through tokens in Claude. I've been kind of thinking about upgrading to either the $100 or $200 a month plan for Claude Code for my personal usage, and it's just like that feels insane to pay for.
Don't do it.
That's a lot of money.
Just don't.
Battlefield 6 I've been playing a ton of over the past couple of weeks. Their season 1 update came out Tuesday. I haven't been able to play it yet. Their battle royale I haven't been able to play yet, so hoping to dig into those this weekend.
Yeah, we should all jump into that, since I feel like the only time I've played any games with you guys is through the Call of Duty battle royale.
Yeah, I've been trying to convince Scott to get this game. It's he hates it. He played the alpha or the beta. He hated it, but I think it's worth playing.
It just wasn't fun.
Well, we should at least try the battle royale. It should be free versus like the main game is paid.
That's fine.
Yeah, we should get back into it. We have a separate Discord server that we've used for a number of years for organizing playing COD and whatnot, but we should try to use that more. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Sweet. Thanks.
Should we wrap it there?
Yeah, good luck in your presentation at work, Matt.
Thanks. Yeah, I need to I need to prep for it. I like wrote a script for it the other day, and it's like maybe this is overkill, but it's gonna help me stay on track. Hopefully, I have to like screen share some stuff, and hopefully it'll be good. It's relatively lightweight. It's like a show and tell that we do, and so it's like I have like 5 minutes or something to show it all.
I feel
We'll see how it goes.
for me, it's like how many people is it in front of? Always makes it harder for whatever reason.
Yeah, this one I think it's like maybe like 30 to 50, so it's not that bad, but more than just a team.
Cool. You're gonna crush it. Don't worry.
Cool. Cool. All right. Yeah. Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a review, share it with some people. I haven't checked back on our stats, our listener stats. Maybe I think we've probably fallen off in Romania, but maybe Lithuania. Maybe we're jumping back up in Lithuania. We'll see. But yeah, we can't improve without you guys providing feedback and reviews. So let us know. Sound off on our Discord. Yeah. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.
Later.
Later.
Peace.